Hi guys, and welcome to your daily tarot reading for Wednesday, the 27th of October 2021. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to use the Osho Zen deck for today's reading. Let's see what the cards have to say about Wednesday and what the day is going to look like. So I'm just going to choose my three cards. Let's have a look. Okay, so the first card is letting go, the Eight of Cups in the regular tarot. Then we have the Miser, that's the Four of Pentacles, and that's the opposite of letting go. That's about digging in your heels and saying, I will not let go of anything. So we've got some fundamental conflict happening on the day. And then finally, we have turning in, the Four of Cups. So the solution to the conflict is by going within and contemplating or meditating or chanting or doing something that connects you with a sense of what is bigger. And then you'll be able to navigate the day more easily. Okay, that's really interesting. So we have two cards in the suit of water. Water is about spirituality and love and connection and creativity. So anything in that kind of realm is going to help you on this day. So if you do have a strong kind of spiritual practice going, then use that to overcome obstacles. If you have wonderful family and friends around you, people who do love you, spending time with them is going to help keep the kind of negative voices at bay. And if you are a writer or a musician or a painter, creating something unique on your own on this day is going to allow you to tap into the suit of Pentacles here, which is Earth, and to actually translate some sort of emotional, spiritual insight or notion into a piece of creative work. And also it helps you with this sense of, I am overly obsessed with the details, or all that matters is money, or I need to protect myself and isolate myself because I'm scared. So that's the big thing to avoid on this day. And you've got a lot of tools that will help you to do that. So the Eight of Cups, usually it's a card that shows 8 cups and someone covered in a red cloak walking away from those 8 cups. And each cup represents something positive in your life. So good relationships or a fabulous home or something like that. But the red cloak indicates that you feel so strongly that there are other things that you need to do in your life, things that could add more to your experience, that you feel compelled to walk away and to turn your back and to leave certain things behind for the promise of some sort of greater future. And it's not selfishness, and it's not the grass is always greener on the other side syndrome. It's an intuitive sense that I know that there's something else out there for me. I don't need to rest on my laurels here and just accept this as the rest of my life. I have a certainty that there is something waiting for me, and I'm going to go find that. I'm going to go on an adventure. So it's really empowering. It's a really positive energy that gives you a lot of hope and drive for the future. Here we've got like the lotus flower. And I love the lotus flower because it's just such a clear image of this whole process. It looks beautiful when it gets to the top and it opens up its petals. Here we've just got the leaves, and I think this is a lotus flower anyway because they look very familiar to me. But we don't have the actual blooming flower here. But it starts off at the bottom of the pond and it has to fight its way through the mud so that it gets to the surface. And then once it is at the surface, it seems so placid and calm. And you don't see all the work that's been involved. So it's a reminder that don't judge yourself on the outcomes only. Honor the journey that you've been on and all the hard work you've put in, and keep going. Sooner or later, you will have a breakthrough and you will get to a place of comfort and ease where you can kind of take a break and where you can reap the rewards of your hard labor, and you can experience the best things in life as a result of your actions. The Four of Pentacles, the Miser, I mean, it's beautifully done here. It's so extreme. It's this woman who is just clutching all these jewels and all this money, and she's built up a big wall because she feels like something or someone is going to come along and try and take it from her. And that fills her with suspicion. And on a soul level, it's exhausting to her because she's trying to protect this thing which seemingly everyone else wants. So it puts her into a really vulnerable position because she's on her own, trying to maintain what is, and it really stops all growth. And on this day, there's such great potential for growth with both these cards. So it would be a pity if you confuse your financial security or your physical appearance or where you live or your job, if you were to confuse that with your real self. You are not your job. You're not how much money you have in the bank. You're a spiritual being having a human experience. And by listening to your intuition and your guidance, you'll be able to have a wonderful, fulfilling experience. But the confusion, when that comes up, and it does come up for most people, if you at some point then start to say, well, I've got this fabulous house, and that's the most amazing thing I will ever achieve. So I need to put all my other hopes and dreams to the side and make everything about this property now. Then you're really creating an impasse for yourself. You're building the wall. And then there is no growth because all you're doing is focusing on one thing, and it really squeezes the life out of all of these other aspects of your experience, which you could tap into. But because there's an excessive focus, it slows things down, it brings them to a full stop, really. And then it creates spiritual illness because all you're focused on is some sort of tangible physical asset. And that's not permanent. Sooner or later, the house is going to fall apart, or the money will be spent, or your looks will change, or your health isn't going to be perfect. You can't base all of your security on something that exists in this world, because the one thing that's guaranteed in this world is that everything sooner or later will change and alter. So it's about getting back to the real you. And the Four of Cups usually is a man sitting under a tree, and he's kind of closed off and he's apathetic. And that came up recently as well, actually. It was the opportunity to go within, but there was the risk of becoming somewhat self-pitying and ungrateful. But in this card, we've got a woman who's very passionate. She's got all these flowers on her cloak. She's got all this water here, so she's very spiritual. And all these shadowy figures, conflict and fear and stuff, they're around her, but her face is completely calm and placid. So she's not affected by the things that seem to want to control her or influence her negatively or that cause her fear, like someone's going to come along and take all my money, because the spiritual energy creates this protective aura around her, and she's able to maintain a sense of calm and peace simply by tapping into her own feelings, her own spiritual awareness. And that means that these things can't touch her. So you really have a choice here. And by being deliberate and remembering who you are, you're not going to fall into the trap of thinking you are your job or your money or where you live. You remember that you can be calm and comforted at any moment just by tuning into who you are. That then empowers you to keep going on your journey without building a wall or without becoming defensive or isolating yourself or being suspicious and looking over your shoulder. No one wants to do that. No one wants to live like that. So it's a fabulous recipe for living in general, but on this day it's especially important because the cards are kind of warning you that the one potential snag that you may run into is this confusion between the physical world and your real self. Number-wise, we've got 8 and 4. Oh, and the numbers in themselves, 4 and 4, the universe is supporting you and giving you concrete messages that then you can translate into practical action. So again, the artists among you, the writers, the composers, the designers, this is a great day to take your creative insights and to do something about them. 8 is strength and power. So this self-discipline and keeping your focus right and good, that's not going to be particularly hard for you. So you can be incredibly productive on this day. It's just about, ideally, I would say, if you're waking up in the morning, just take 5 minutes to tune in to something bigger, to yourself, to just get a sense of who you are. It's kind of at the beginning of the day, it's just getting the compass out and starting on the right foot, really. So those 5 minutes in the morning are really going to benefit you for the rest of the day. So if you do have the opportunity to do that before you jump out of bed, or before you rush off to work, I think on this day it's particularly important. But the numbers together, so 8 and 4 is 12, and another 4 is 16. 1 and 6 is 7, and 7 is the mind and creativity in numerology. So the power really resides in you. And when you tune into your higher self, into your true nature, you're able to get creative about your circumstances. And again, you don't fall into the trap of thinking they're set in stone. You realize that they're malleable and that you can work with them to adapt them so that they suit your needs, rather than become these oppressive forces that control you. So it's really a very interesting day where the way you look at things and the way you perceive the world and your life, that's the key. That's everything on this day. So manifestation work, looking at what you're saying and what you're creating on a vibrational level, all of that is very important on this day. I hope you have a wonderful Wednesday. If you would like a personal reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. On the front page, click on Book Your Reading to order your reading with me. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and share the video online. Have an amazing day, and I'll speak to you tomorrow.